Today is June 11th, 2026. And at 1 p.m. local time in Mexico City in a stadium that has hosted 2 World Cup finals, 1 Hand of God, and a generation of football mythology, the biggest sporting event on earth officially begins. Mexico vs. South Africa. Group A, Match Day 1. The first ball kicked at the first game of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And before we get into what might happen today, I want to tell you about everything that's already happened before a single whistle has been blown. Because this specific fixture carries more history, more pressure, and more storylines than almost any opening game in World Cup memory. Let's get into it. First, where this is happening. Estadio Azteca, Mexico City. Sitting at 7,200 feet above sea level. 87,500 seats. Freshly renovated after a $150 million overhaul that took nearly 2 years. New pitch, new locker rooms, new sound system with over 340 speakers, new video screens. But the same concrete bones that have stood since 1966. This is the only stadium in the world to have hosted 3 World Cups. Brazil lifted the trophy here in 1970. Argentina lifted it here in 1986. And today, for the 3rd time in history, this stadium opens a World Cup. No venue on the planet has done that. Not once. Not twice. 3 times. And before the match even kicks off, there's a ceremony. Shakira headlines. Burna Boy is there. Tyla, who is South African, fitting for the occasion, sings the South African national anthem. Salma Hayek is the official tournament ambassador. And there will be a tribute to Pelé and Diego Maradona, 2 men whose greatest World Cup moments happened on this exact pitch. So by the time the referee blows the first whistle, the crowd of 87,000 will already be at maximum emotional temperature. For Mexico, that's a gift. For South Africa, that is the problem. Let's talk about Mexico. Because this is not a team that shows up to a World Cup relaxed. Mexico has a story that most American sports fans would actually understand on a gut level. From 1994 to 2018, 7 consecutive World Cups, Mexico made it out of the group stage every single time. Consistent, reliable, always there in the knockout rounds. And every single time, 7 times, they lost in the round of 16. In Mexico, they have a name for this. It's called El Quinto Partido. The 5th game. Because to get past the round of 16, you have to win a 5th match. And for 24 years, Mexico could not win that game. No matter who coached. No matter who played. 7 tournaments. Same wall. Then 2022 happened. They didn't even make it out of the group stage. The 7 tournament streak of round of 16 exits ended, because they didn't get to the round of 16. It was like breaking your fastest mile record by stopping running entirely. So here they are. Home soil. Co-hosts. Playing in front of 87,000 fans at the most iconic football stadium in Latin America. And the entire country, the entire nation, has one demand: don't embarrass us again. Who's leading this team? Javier Aguirre. He's 67 years old, been coaching since 1995, and this is his 3rd time managing Mexico at a World Cup. He also did it in 2002 and 2010. Both ended in round of 16 exits. He knows this team's ceiling. He's trying to raise it. The attack is built around Raúl Jiménez, a 34-year-old striker playing for Fulham in the Premier League. And here's the thing about Jiménez that makes this story richer. In 2020, he suffered a fractured skull during a match. A fractured skull. Doctors said it was life-threatening. He was out for nearly a year. And he came back, rebuilt himself, and is now here at a home World Cup as Mexico's most dangerous goal threat. He scored 9 goals in 14 Mexico appearances in 2025. He needs 1 more to close in on Jared Borgetti's all-time Mexico scoring record of 46. He is 44 goals in. Home World Cup. He is motivated. Up front alongside him is Santiago Jiménez, 23 years old, plays for AC Milan. Young, electric, pressing machine. And in midfield, Captain Edson Alvarez, just back from ankle surgery, anchors everything. 1 more name, Guillermo Ochoa. The goalkeeper. 40 years old. And today, if he plays, he ties Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo as one of only 3 players in history to appear at 6 World Cups. 6. He was at the 2010 World Cup. The same World Cup South Africa hosted. Against South Africa's predecessor generation. He is still here. Now South Africa. And this story is completely different in tone. Bafana Bafana, that's the nickname, it means, the boys, in Zulu, haven't been at a World Cup since 2010. 16 years. They were the hosts that year, and they became the first host nation in World Cup history to be eliminated at the group stage. Beat France. Lost to Uruguay. Drew Mexico. They've been gone ever since. Getting back here wasn't easy. They qualified by the skin of their teeth, topping their African group ahead of Nigeria only because results went their way on the final day. They even had a 3-0 loss handed to them during qualifying for fielding an ineligible player. So the road to Mexico City was messy. The coach is Hugo Bruce, a 72-year-old Belgian. He's been doing this for 5 decades. He is disciplined, defensively organized, and pragmatic. His team doesn't beat you with individual brilliance. They beat you by being hard to score against and lethal on the counter. Their key player is Lyle Foster. He's 25. He plays for Burnley in England. 10 international goals and 24 caps, including crucial strikes at the Africa Cup of Nations. He is the focal point, the physical presence up front, the guy South Africa are betting everything on to create something against the Mexican defense playing in front of its home crowd. Around him, Relebohao Mofokeng, 21 years old, plays for Orlando Pirates, one of the most exciting young wingers in African football right now. Oswin Apollos on the other flank, pace, directness, the kind of player who can run at defenders and make them look slow. And in goal, Ronwen Williams. The captain? He is statistically one of the best goalkeepers in Africa. He made 10 consecutive saves in a penalty shootout at the Africa Cup of Nations to send South Africa through. 10 consecutive saves. That is not a typo. 19 of South Africa's 26 players come from the South African Domestic League. Which means this is largely a home-based squad going up against a Mexico team built with Premier League and Serie A players. On paper, massive underdog. On the pitch, a team with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Here's the thing that makes this opening fixture genuinely poetic. 16 years ago, June 11, 2010, the FIFA World Cup opened in Johannesburg, South Africa. And the first match of that tournament was South Africa versus Mexico. South Africa scored first. Sifuwe Tshabalala. One of the greatest strikes in World Cup opening match history. The crowd erupted. An entire continent erupted. It was the first World Cup ever held on African soil, and the host nation scored the first goal. Mexico equalized. Rafael Marquez. 1-1. The game ended as a draw. Today, June 11, 2026, those same two nations face each other again. Same stage, the opening match of the World Cup. Reversed, this time Mexico is the host. Same date, June 11th, exactly 16 years later. That is not a scheduling coincidence. FIFA knew exactly what they were doing when they made this the opening fixture. And the one player from that 2010 match who is still standing here today? Guillermo Ochoa. He was in goal for Mexico in Johannesburg in 2010. He may be in goal for Mexico in Mexico City today. 16 years of football. Same two teams. Full circle. So, what actually happens in this game? What should you watch? For Mexico, it's all about Jimenez in the first 30 minutes. Mexico play compact, structured football. They don't throw numbers forward recklessly. But on home soil, with the crowd behind them, they'll push earlier than usual. Jimenez's movement off the ball is the key. He pulls center-backs out of position to create space for the wide players. If South Africa's defense gets pulled around in the first half, it opens. Also watch 17-year-old Gilberto Mora, the youngest player at the entire 2026 World Cup. Aguirre may use him off the bench to inject energy if Mexico needs to break down a low block. At 17, playing at Azteca, in the first match of the World Cup, that is a story that writes itself. For South Africa, survive the opening 20 minutes. Mexico's home crowd is the 12th player. The noise at Azteca in the first minutes of a World Cup opener will be unlike almost anything in football. If South Africa can stay organized, stay disciplined, not concede early. The crowd gets nervous, Mexico tightens up, and suddenly it's a real game. Lyle Foster needs one moment. 1. A South Africa counter-attack. A long ball over the top, Foster in behind the Mexican defense. Williams making a save that shouldn't be saved. That is South Africa's blueprint. That is their only blueprint, and they know it. The altitude is also real. Mexico City sits over 7,000 feet above sea level. South Africa have never played a competitive match here. Mexico play here all the time. After 60 minutes, if players' legs are heavy, the team that trained at altitude wins that battle without doing anything. One stat to end on. Mexico is unbeaten in their last 7 World Cup opening games, 5 wins, 2 draws. South Africa has never won a World Cup match outside of Africa. These facts exist together. Make of it what you will. So here we are. June 11th. Estadio Azteca. 87,000 people. The most historic football stadium on the planet, hosting a World Cup opening match for the third time in history. Mexico, a nation carrying the weight of 7 quarterfinal level failures, a 2022 humiliation, and the loudest home crowd in world football. South Africa. Returning after 16 years away, built mostly of domestic players, with a goalkeeper who stops penalties like it's a personality trait, and a striker with Premier League steel. And the storyline sitting underneath all of it. The last time these two teams played, in this exact fixture, on this exact date, it was South Africa's World Cup. Their home. Their stage. Their moment. Today the script is flipped. Does Mexico win? Probably. The odds say 70%. The history says yes. The crowd says yes. Does South Africa care what the odds say? They were 16 years in the wilderness to get here. They came back. They're here. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Mexico City time. The world is watching. Explain this, America.